commence the Western Sufi course, long-awaited Western Sufi course. And this Western Sufi course is a combination of many different aspects of divinity and humanity. The psychological aspect of life, the moral aspect of life, behavioral aspect of life, spiritual aspect of life. Because spirituality comprises of all these little tiny elements of human and divine nature. There is no direct approach to being a spiritual man. You pursue in spirituality through different highways and byways, and you cover a lot of parameters of divinity. Spirituality fundamentally is awakening of the souls. The principal spirituality is adhered not to a set of beliefs, but to enlightenment, an awakening of the souls. And through spirituality, one paves way for himself and herself to experiencing of God. The souls have this natural tendency in them to return to its origin. So seeking God, seeking divine love is not something that you will learn from somebody. It has been invested by God in your nature. It is in the nature of every soul to return to its origin. That's why when the loving souls go through this physical migration from the realm of angels and they find themselves migrated to the realm of the reasoning, they appear to be oblivion of themselves. And they wander here and there to find themselves, who they are, and what is the purpose of their descent on earth. This all is spirituality. But we have so many different societies in the world, and these societies have already taken certain religious flavors throughout the world. So the fundamentals of spirituality have certain accents of color. And then the knowledge of spirituality was diversified into many different spiritual creed and many different spiritual explanation and interpretations. However, the basics of spirituality, as it appears by the word spirituality, is definitely the awakening of the souls and the spirits within you. As the human population became wary of religions and moral practices of religions, they started distancing themselves from religious teachings, from religious practices, from religious philosophies, and they became religionless. Another reason for not being fond of the religions anymore was that they strived hard whilst they were in those religions. But the outcome of the vigorous practice of the religion was futile. And they were unable to quench their spiritual thirst. And then they assumed that religions were only a set of ritualistic beliefs, customary practices, rituals, conventional, and nothing was aimed at finding the inner peace. The religions stopped grooming its practitioners. Religions lacked spiritual grooming. And it is very unfortunate that most of the massacre, carnage, bloodbath, killing, bloodshed came from people who followed a religion. To kill another human being in the name of God and in the name of the religion is what caused people to distance themselves from the religions. Obviously, there are reasons why religions were hijacked and how false interpretations of the religions distorted the image of the religions. This is yet another story. We have no time to go into further details of how the religions were destroyed. But as the matter of the truth, what we see today is that the religions are no more in a position to cater for the needs of humanity, the spiritual needs, the mystical, hidden needs, the need and desire and want of returning to the origin, embracing the Creator. So when people shun practices of the religions, they looked for an alternative, and they find an alternate, and this was spirituality. Not knowing that spirituality is the mother of religions. They heard it on the grapevine that when you're a spiritual man and a spiritual woman, there are no restrictions, there are no limits, there are no do's and there are no don'ts, and there are no wars and there are no conflicts. Then Rumi replaced the religions in the West. Hafiz Shirazi replaced the religions in the West. And people started to adopt this new trend in the global societies. Sufism. Either you talk about Jewish spirituality, Kabbalah, or you talk about Hindu spirituality, or Christian spirituality, or even Muslim spirituality. All these different forms of spirituality comes from the East. So somehow or other, we have this dependency on the spiritualists who come from the East, because spirituality originated from the East. Whether it is a guru from Himalayan mountains in India or Tibet mountain in China, or a Muslim Sufi from the jungle of Lal Bagh and different other remote places of hermitage. It is fundamentally Eastern philosophy. The West, out of the quest for spirituality, borrowed Sufism from the Eastern Sufis, Muslim Sufis, Hindu Sufis, or Dalai Lama, or Anandamurti Guruma of Sonipat, Haryana, India, or Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi of Konya, Turkey, or the Bektashi order from Turkey, Younus Amr from Turkey, Anatolia, or Shams Tabriz from Azerbaijan, or Inayat Khan from India, or Idris Shah, or Bulle Shah from Pakistan. And now the universal Sufi order spreads the Goharian philosophy of Sufism with a universal approach. A Sufi is a Sufi, whether he comes from Hindu background or a Muslim background or a Jewish background. A Sufi is a Sufi. Sufi is one who has purified himself. And those who have purified himself, they become Sufi. Some people who are fed up with the religions, they still continue to believe in God, though they didn't want to follow a religion, but they still believed in God. So they looked for a form of spirituality in which they would be able to have this experience of God, in which they may develop an intimate relationship with God. This was authentic spirituality. And then those who are agnostics, who are atheists, who didn't believe in existence of God, but they still were enchanted and they felt attracted towards the charms of spirituality. They did want to practice spirituality. However, they introduced a form of spirituality which they believed was secular spirituality, in which there was no concept of enlightenment of the souls, or no concept of loving God or following a religion. Secular spirituality was meant to find inner peace and personal growth. That's all. And there are many different societies in the world today who claim to practice secular spirituality. And in their form of spirituality, there is no concept of God. There is no concept of Creator. However, they still meditate upon certain objects. They meditate the meditation of silence. They concentrate on one point and exiting all different thoughts from their brain. And obviously, when all different assorted thoughts are pushed out of your brain for a certain period of time, and your brain is focused on one point alone, you will definitely find some peace. It's like there are 2,000 pictures in your folder in the phone, and suddenly you decide to delete all of them. The moment you delete all of them, and there is still 5 GB available in your iPhone will feel it's really fast. So this is exactly what happens when they engage themselves in meditation of silence, in which they push all the thoughts out of their brain and they concentrate on one point, and that one point alone gives them certain serenity, certain peace, because the brain becomes stationary. When the brain is busy processing too many thoughts, and sometimes there are different thoughts, and these different thoughts are so weird and different in nature that they cannot intermingle with each other. This is when you begin to have a headache. Thought about sexuality, and the same time thought about spirituality, and the same time thought about hockey and cricket and football. They're all different assorted thoughts. They cannot intermingle into each other. And this is when you begin to have a lot of stress on your brain. So secular spirituality is not our subject. I have to be apologetic when I denounce authenticity of secular spirituality. Had it been secular spirituality in a sense that no religion is required to find God, I would have been okay. But secular has been given a different meaning, not just without a religion, but without a God too. That is not natural. If you came into being without anybody bringing you into existence, then why the babies do not come into existence without parents? It only happened once. Why doesn't it happen every day? Well, it's just a coincidence that we came into existence. All right, just once. If this is the pattern of creation, then it should happen every day. Why a man has to sleep with a woman in order to create children? So we have to accept the truth. And the truth is, there is God. There is God. But must I tell you, there is no Muslim God, there is no Hindu God, there is no Christian God or a Jew God. There is only one God, and He is just God. He is for everybody. He is not a Muslim God. He is not a Christian God. He is just God. You may be a Muslim, you may be a Christian, but don't ascribe partners with God. You think if you're a Hindu, God is a Hindu? No. God doesn't have a skin like you. He can't be white, he can't be yellow, he can't be red, he can't be black. God is God. You have different colors of skin because of different species of Adam. We come from different species of Adam. This is why we have different skin color. But skin color does not denote our reality. It's not the skin color that we must emulate. We must emulate the moral character of God. We have to embrace our heart with a mark of God's love. So the type of spirituality that we will be pursuing in this Western Sufi course is divine, global, universal, immersive spirituality. Divine spirituality in which man will be bridged with God. And this Sufi, Western Sufi course is about to start now.
TV, bringing light, love, and peace in your life.